Here's the important lesson that all you Comicsgaters need to learn. You shouldn't have fucked with the Dark Lord. Every time you come at me, I will take something away from you. Every single time.
Hey there, so that was Vox Day, announcing within a 17-minute diatribe his new imprint. You can see it in front of you, in green and purple, Comicsgate, 100% SJW free. And the reaction to it was not very good. Vox Day, within this, he knows exactly what he did with it too. He basically sat down, and again, within 17 minutes, he threatened people, and he threatened people, and he threaten people, thinking that that would be the way that he is going to get some type of reaction. Now, that may get some people out there to actually back certain titles, but it'll also have where people will not talk about his work at all. Why? Because people do not respond well to threats. See, Comicsgate is a reaction to that type of mentality. That is what SJW is. When you go out and you need to basically stomp people into silence, when you say that you're going to walk lockstep or else, that's the thing that people don't want. That's what Marvel was. That's what DC, IDW, and Image represent. Over and over, we saw people being told that they had to react a specific way or else. There was this or else, and it wasn't even implied. It was something that became more and more overt as you move forward. You see creators out there that are telling you things like, don't like it, don't buy it. But within that, there is also the implied, do not speak up. If you do speak up about the issues, well, you find yourself labeled, you find yourself bullied, you find yourself pushed to a corner. The only issue with that is that now we have ways to talk about comics. In the older days, you had message boards, and those message boards, they may be ran by one person who is a huge fan of something, but that huge fan, they had the power to kick anyone that started talking out of turn. You would oftentimes have people like a Mark Waid come in. We actually saw an instance of that not too long ago again, where a person that had been within a group for years had posted 13 or 14,000 times within something, was kicked because Mark Waid asked a moderator to do so. Mark Waid, who had posted there 5 times within, say, 6 years, managed to get someone kicked out and silenced because, hey, that's the way that kind of thing runs. Only now, that's not how things run. People don't have to be silent, and when they're reacting, they can react to things like we saw Vox Day saying too. I hope Vox Day, when he sees this, also sees that the other side is actually celebrating him because he sounds just like they do. I mean, when you think again about the people that are celebrating your move too, I mean, look at the people like, say, a Tim Doyle, white supremacist Vox Day, launching a Comicsgate comic company, scooping the trademark of the name out from under the hate-fueled originators of the movement, is just too rich to fully process right now. Reap what you sow, I guess. Because, hey, Vox Day, that kind of person, is someone, I guess, they can walk lockstep with because they can understand how to silence a reactionary movement. It's amazing. I mean, when you think about this and you think about how this is marketed versus the reality of that. Now, how it's marketed is interesting too, and that's why I have this page pulled up, because I want to read this from Bounding Into Comics. They did an exclusive Vox Day announcement, and like I say, I want to go over this to showcase what Vox Day is saying it's going to be, versus if you go and you look at that video, well, you can see exactly what he's saying back to you. So Bounding Into Comics asks, what kind of stories do you plan on featuring under this imprint? Vox Day replies, we plan on featuring any comic or graphic novel brought to us by Comicsgate affiliated creators who wish to make public their support for Comicsgate. Bounding Into Comics asks, will this be a shared universe imprint like what you're doing with Archaven Comics or Alt Hero? Vox Day replies, no, this isn't a shared universe. We set it up as a means of giving Comicsgaters a means of broad and reliable distribution that cannot be shut down by SJWs in the comics industry. Now, if that was his intent there, if that was the whole thing, the sum total here, without branding it as such, without saying, I own Comicsgate, that might actually be a good move. Having a way to distribute without other people trying to step in and cause you issues. Unfortunately, like I say, if you go and listen to that YouTube video, that's not what he says at all. Continuing here. Bounding into comics. Do you have any creators already lined up? Who are they? VOX Day replies, Will Callaghan at first. We do have others lined up, but I prefer not to identify them until their comic or graphic novels are ready for publication. As you know, we don't talk much about our future projects. We prefer to wait until things are ready to go before we announce them, as we have done here. Bounding into Comics asks, what will the first title from Will Callaghan be? Can you give us any details on the story? VOX Day replied, the print edition of Gun-Ghoul. It has done very well in digital, and we expect the graphic novel will also be successful. Now, if you listen to VOX Day and you listen to his video, he will talk about Will Callaghan because he's utilizing him like a bludgeon. You can see what happened to Will Callaghan in the past, wherein he talked about what he thought about transgenderism, and he lost distribution for it. You can see him make comments here about transgenderism, where he says, you can't change DNA, and this is a natural construct or a nature construct. You can think what you like, but it doesn't change the truth, and that lost him his deal. Now, VOX Day put up something, actually garnered money and attention within that, and he managed to get his comic book out there. Later on, there were disagreements between some of the pros that have associated with Comicsgate and with Will Callaghan, and within that, apparently that is going to be utilized as a bludgeon to, of course, attack consumers. Because, consumers within this is pretty much their movement, but hey, let's put them on the sideline and let's see someone like VOX Day come out and try to weaponize that. That does not have a good afterword either. If you look at people being told they have to react or respond a specific way, people do not respond well to that at all. That's why certain creators have been very successful, because they are offering people exactly what they had been denied before. They weren't offered something like this that we're seeing here, where again, something that was theirs was co-opted. No, they were actually offered an alternative to what was out there, and they of course wanted that. They want good products, and they don't want to hear about someone's internal politics. They don't want to hear about what they have to or have not to do. And of course, this interview, it does not directly align with what we saw in that 17-minute diatribe. So continuing here, bounding into comics, will you be actively courting Comicsgate creators, or will there be a submittal process? We're extremely busy, so we'll be more inclined to wait to hear from interested creators. Will there be a vetting process for creators? Yes. For example, if a Comicsgate critic wants to embrace the movement and publish under this new label, will they be able to? No. Bounding into comics. So will you be planning any crowdfunding around this new imprint? VOX Day. I expect we will do so, yes. Bounding into comics. When can we expect the first crowdfunder? VOX Day. Not for at least 2 months. We're running one now for Alt Hero Q. Bounding into comics. How will you differentiate this imprint from Arkhaven and Dark Legion? VOX Day. Arkhaven is for original material we create. Dark Legion is what other creators bring to us for publishing. Comicsgate is similar to Dark Legion, but it is specifically for creators and fans who wish to make public their support for Comicsgate. Now here he's talking about making your support known for Comicsgate. Well, people have already done that. He must be talking about his brand, because otherwise he would understand that anyone out there that had been labeled as Comicsgate oftentimes didn't get to choose that. Much like him co-opting a label. People would apply a label to you. Maybe if this is going to stand, people need to walk away from a label too and do something different, because I would not be defined by VOX Day, nor will I be defined as anyone else. And interestingly, he's going to say in the next sentence that he doesn't try to define Comicsgate, and yet within this, with him giving some kind of vetting process, for example, him deciding who is or isn't, he is essentially actually defining Comicsgate. So continuing here, we don't claim to define Comicsgate. We don't claim to be the official publisher of Comicsgate, and there will certainly be Comicsgaters who will utilize other publishers and distribution channels. This is merely our way of offering our structural support for the people and philosophy of Comicsgate. Now, if I wouldn't have watched the 17-minute diatribe wherein he was threatening people again and again, maybe I would take that statement a little bit differently. Maybe I would look at that and say, you know, he had a misgiving within this. Maybe he decided to go about this the wrong way. Maybe he didn't really think about him going in and again co-opting that label. But of course he did. He thought about it, and again, if you go and watch that, and I would encourage you to do so, he is utilizing it as a bludgeon. Bounding into comics, will there be any difference in how you handle Comicsgate imprints financially with creators over your other imprints? He says that the publishing arrangement is the same as Dark Legion. Is there any significance to the green and purple colors chosen for the logo? The ride never ends. I don't even know what that's supposed to mean really within that, but okay. Now, like I said, it's very interesting to see exactly who is identifying with this, and who is out there applauding it. I see many a bad actor, I'm sure we'll see them for days, that are applauding this motion, which I hope VOX Day considers, because when he looks at that, well, he's being applauded by the other side. Perhaps he enjoys that too. Perhaps he loves going out and mixing it up with people and telling people exactly where he stands, how he is the big person there. But unfortunately, he again is talking to consumers. If you listen to him, and I'm going to play a clip in just a second from his own words, well, he sounds like a petulant child. He sounds like someone that is telling you it's going to be my way or it's going to be a highway. Well, we've already been there. We've already been down the highway, and we can just keep going, and we can go right past someone like VOX Day.
See, if you keep threatening me, then you're going to encourage me to turn this against you and start using it against you and to take it away from you.
My final thoughts on this are very simple. You can sit down and you can call yourself Comicsgate, but at the end of the day, it is not a creator endeavor. It is not an imprint. What it is a consumer reaction wherein they say that we walk away. What are we walking toward? Well, if you go out and you wag your finger in people's faces, they're definitely not going to walk towards you. If you threaten them and say that they have to walk lockstep or else, they're going to move away, and they're going to move away quickly. That's what we're going to see with this kind of stuff. Sure, there will be people that stick with VOX Day simply because he's VOX Day, but ultimately, this isn't about him. This is about anyone that would want to come in and want to take something like that away, because in essence they don't understand what that thing is. They think it's a label. They think it's a practice wherein you can sell, but ultimately it is a consumer reaction, and people, they decide what is relevant and what is not accordingly. Within this and some of the wording that I heard there within that 17 minutes, it tells me that this is not a solution. This is more of the same tripe that we have heard for years now. But tell me what you think about that. I am curious where people stand on this kind of stuff. Also, if you like this kind of material, consider supporting the channel. We have Patreon link, we have a PayPal link, and on. This is the kind of material I am sure that YouTube does not like or support. So let me know what you think about that. And again, consider supporting channels, not only this, but other ones whom you enjoy and who bring you material that, again, YouTube and on does not consider right in their stream of thought. Thank you.